No, it's not the Snowball method. Yes, I know Dave Ramsey says so. And of course, Dave Ramsey has way more knowledge and experience in finances than I do, and probably than I will ever have. But still, no, the debt snowball is not the most efficient way to get out of debt. The math says so.
Math?
Math.
How's that possible? Does that make any sense? Yes, it does. Come along, I'll show you.
Can't wait.
Don't get me wrong, I admire Dave Ramsey and all that he does. Honestly, a lot of my knowledge in finances comes from him and I follow his baby steps. In fact, Dave Ramsey himself says that mathematically, the debt snowball is not the optimal way. You don't believe me? Check it out.
I actually am a math nerd beyond belief. And so if you were a hardcore math nerd, technically, mathematically, you would list your debt's highest interest rate to smallest interest rate first. And if you paid the exact same amount on that program that you paid on the get out of debt plan that we use, smallest balance to largest balance, you would get out of debt faster because you're not paying as much interest if you pay the higher interest off first. And that makes mathematical sense.
Oh, wow.
But what we have discovered is that this is not a math problem. If you were doing math, you wouldn't have credit card debt.
True.
This is not a math issue. This is a overspending, disorganized, not on a budget, time to grow up and not buy stuff I can't afford unless I have the cash problem. If I can get you to believe, because you're having successes, that you're going to win, you will work even that much harder to keep at it than just the intellectual discussion of interest rates. You don't fix a behavior problem with a math solution. You fix a behavior problem with a behavior solution, and paying off the smallest one, even though it is illogical, will cause you to have more success because you'll get fired up because you're having some success. And we list our debts smallest to largest because when you pay off the little one, you're like, hey, that's cool. And then you pay off the next one, it's like, that's very interesting. And then you pay off another one, you're like, hey, this is kind of working. This guy ain't crazy as he sounds, you know? And then you pay off another one, you're like, whoa! And then you're going to pay off another one, you're like, I'm never going out to eat again. Let's do this. Bye, game on, you know? And the more you win, the more fired up you get, and the deeper you sacrifice, and the less you worry about what other people think or say, and the more you lean in and push this through. And so that's the reasoning behind it.
He's absolutely right saying that debt is a behavior problem. He's absolutely right saying that you need those little wins to keep digging. But I disagree that the number of debts, 2, 3, 5, 6 debts, is the only measure you can use to track your progress.
I see your point.
First of all, why is the debt bad? Well, it's obvious. You pay interest, meaning the debt takes money out of your pocket. You just pay your money to someone because one day you borrowed some money. Of course, debt snowball will work for most of the people. Well, it will work for all the people. But I personally need to know that I'm taking the best way possible. For me, the number of debts doesn't matter that much, like the amount of interest I have to pay every month. And I want to track my progress by looking at this number and knowing that I'm taking the most optimal way to reduce that number as fast and to get out of debt as fast and to pay as less interest in total as possible.
Sounds reasonable.
I'm far from thinking I am unique, so that means there are other people like me who need to know the most optimal way, mathematically optimal way to get out of debt. So let's math the shit out of this method and then I'll show you how much you can save using an alternative approach.
I'd like to do the math.
A little spoiler, you can slash the total interest you pay in half or even more. Let's go.
Alright, I'm gonna use my favorite way of calculating things, the spreadsheet. We're gonna track our progress monthly, so I'll start with 0. 0 is gonna be the starting point. And here I'm gonna list the debts. Let's start with the credit card debt. Suppose we have $2,000 of credit card debt with annual interest of 20%. Since we're going to be tracking monthly and the interest is charged monthly, we need to know how big is the monthly interest. The interest can be compounding or not compounding, but for simplicity purposes, I'm gonna just divide 20% by 12. And in this column, we're gonna be putting how much we are paying each month. Every next month, the balance is gonna be calculated as the previous balance minus whatever we paid and monthly interest on top of that. I'm gonna copy it over, and this time it's gonna be a credit line with 6% annual interest. And we're gonna add another debt of, let's say, $1,000 from our generous brother who doesn't charge any interest and tells us, you know, pay me whenever you can. I'm not in a rush. Let's make it a little prettier. And let's extend that for all the following months. Let's suppose we pull our shit together and we're able to pay $500 each month. According to the Snowball method, we need to attack the smallest debt first. That means it's the debt to our brother. Actually, let's make it more interesting. Why do we have equal balances on credit card and credit line? Let's suppose we have $4,000 on credit card. So now, according to the Snowball method, after we paid off the debt to our brother, we need to attack the credit line debt. So we start paying it off every month. And by month 6, we only have $35.63 and we need to pay just that. But we have some money remaining this month, so we're gonna put them towards the credit card debt. And then every next month, we keep paying $500. Okay, we got into negatives. Yeah, by month 15, we paid off all the debts. We're out of all debts, congratulations. Now let's calculate how much we actually paid. For that, we're gonna just summarize everything that we paid. This is the end result. In total, we paid $7,774.71. Oh, that's lots of sevens. Meanwhile, the initial amount of debts was $7,000. So on top of those $7,000, we paid $774.71. And that's just slightly over 11% of total interest we paid on top of those $7,000. Let's see what happens if we use the Avalanche method. The Avalanche method says that we need to attack the debt with the highest interest, which in this case is our credit card debt. Same approach, we put $500 every month. By month 8, we only need to pay the remaining part, which is $253.54. The remaining money we put towards the next highest interest debt, which is the credit line. Continue doing so until the debt is paid. And finally, we pay off the debt to our generous brother who has been waiting for the whole year. Now, by month 14, we are out of debts. But see how these numbers changed. In total, we paid only $7,356.88, which is slightly over 5% of total interest we paid, which is more than twice as less as when we were using the Snowball method.
Here you might say that I deliberately put the biggest interest on the biggest debt. Alright, let's switch the numbers and see if that works. But before we go there, I will highly appreciate if you hit the like button. You have no idea how much a single like can mean for a small channel like myself. And if you subscribe to my channel, my appreciation to you will be even higher than my respect to Dave Ramsey.
So we're switching the numbers. Suppose we have $2,000 on credit card and $4,000 on credit line. Again, using the Snowball method, we attack the smallest debt first, which is the debt to our brother. The next is the credit card debt, which is the next smallest. So we start paying it off. We do so until it's done. The remaining part goes towards the last one, the credit line. And it's paid off by month 14. The total interest we paid is $327.05, which is 4.67%. Now let's compare it to the Avalanche method. We start paying off the highest interest debt, which is the credit card. Then we attack the credit line. And finally the debt to our brother. We're also done by month 14. And we overpaid $209.74, which is exactly 3% of interest. This time the difference is not that significant as in the previous example, but still the overall interest we paid is less than using the Snowball method.
See, the numbers might change, but the end result does not. The most efficient way is to attack the debt with the highest interest rate. And it's not me who says so, the math does. And the math is always right. It is truly a relief to be out of debt. First, you stop paying that interest that over months and years can accumulate to hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Second, you can start your emergency fund. The money that you used to put in to get out of debt, now you can put towards the emergency fund that will help you if unexpected expense comes your way, you won't get into debt again. And after you have your emergency fund, you can start investing and growing your wealth. And you know what? I have just the right video for you. Check it out. Meanwhile, see you in the next time.